In a village so small it had been forgotten by every map, there lived a baker named Elara. Her shop sat at the edge of the cobblestone square, and every morning the scent of warm bread drifted through the streets like a lullaby. But Elara's bread was different. It wasn't just flour and water, it was magic. She discovered it by accident one autumn evening. A grieving widow had come to her shop, tears streaking her weathered face, asking for anything to ease the ache of loss. Elara, moved by compassion, kneaded the dough while thinking of the woman's late husband, the way he used to hum while fixing the village gate, the way his laugh echoed through the square. When the widow bit into the bread, her eyes filled with wonder. She could see him again, feel him again. For just a moment she was whole. Word spread like wildfire. Soon people came from far beyond the village, clutching coins and hopes. A soldier wanted to taste his mother's lullaby one last time. A young girl longed to remember her first sunrise. A father sought the laughter of a daughter grown and gone. And Elara baked for them all. Each loaf was a masterpiece, golden and warm, filled with the memories they had lost to time. But magic, as it always does, demanded a price. With every memory she baked into bread, one of her own slipped away. At first it was small things, the name of her childhood cat, the colour of her mother's eyes. She barely noticed. But as the months passed, the gaps grew wider. She forgot the smell of rain on summer soil, the sound of her father's voice, the reason she had started baking in the first place. Still people came, and still she baked. One cold winter morning, Elara stood in her shop, staring at the shelves lined with jars of flour and sugar. She couldn't remember why she was there, couldn't remember her own name. The villagers whispered when they saw her, their eyes filled with pity. The baker who gave everything had finally given too much. And then, a small boy entered the shop. He was no older than 8, with dirt on his cheeks and a threadbare coat. In his hands, he carried a single loaf of bread wrapped carefully in cloth. Elara stared at him, confused. She did not know him, did not know why he was crying. "You gave this to me 3 years ago," the boy said, his voice trembling. "I was hungry. My family had nothing. You baked this loaf and told me it was filled with kindness. You said to save it for a day when I needed it most." Elara blinked, her mind blank as fresh snow. The boy unwrapped the bread. It was still golden, still warm, as if it had just come from the oven. "You told me it was made from your happiest memory," he whispered. "The day you decided to bake for others. The day you chose love over loneliness." He broke the bread in half and offered it to her. Elara hesitated. Her hands shook as she took the piece and brought it to her lips. The moment it touched her tongue, the world erupted in light. She remembered everything. Her mother's eyes green as spring leaves, her father's voice deep and steady, the rain on summer soil, the first loaf she ever baked, clumsy and burnt at the edges, and the choice she had made to fill her life with the joy of others, even if it cost her own. Tears streamed down her face as the memories flooded back, warm and whole. She looked at the boy, and for the first time in months, she smiled. "You kept it," she whispered. "You kept it all this time." The boy nodded, his own tears falling freely. "You saved me, so I saved you." From that day forward, Elara still baked her magical bread, but she learned to bake with balance. For every memory she gave, she kept one for herself. And on the coldest nights, when the village was silent and the stars hung low, she would bake a small loaf just for her. A loaf filled with gratitude, with second chances, with the warmth of a boy who had loved her enough to give her memory back. The villagers said her bread tasted different after that. Sweeter, fuller, as if every loaf now carried not just memory, but hope. And perhaps that was the greatest magic of all, because Elara had learned what so many forget, that the memories we give away with love will always, always find their way home.